Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I want to talk to you now. This is my regular Thursday blog, and I want to talk to you about a very, very serious, terrible situation that just happened. I don't have to remind you about the horror of the situation of 32 kids getting killed, and there's so many among them of all ages. That's because on the campus nobody was allowed to have a weapon or carry a gun, because in Virginia you're allowed to carry a gun every place except on the campus. Now that has to be the most moronic thing that I ever heard in my life. I don't want to blame any specific people or anybody about this horrible thing that just happened, but it was totally preventable. If anybody on that campus had a gun, couldn't they have shot him? Couldn't they have protected all the other people? If any teacher, any student, anybody had a gun, is there any excuse in the world why none of them should have been allowed to carry a gun and let anybody who's nuts go crazy and kill people whenever he pleases? This has got to be the most moronic thing in the world, and anybody who tells you about gun control is a sick moron. Ought to be ashamed of themselves. They created a cliche and they still believe in it. They believe this cliche that if you're disarmed and your murderer has got all the guns he pleases, the idea that the gun control is going to stop a murderer from carrying a gun is moronic. A murderer will find a way to carry a gun. In Prohibition times, people found a way to have liquor. Right now, marijuana laws are all over this country. You go for 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years, but they still smoke marijuana and still manage to find it. And the same thing with cocaine. There's heavy sentences, sometimes 10 years, 20 years. They still have cocaine somehow. They still manage to get it. To say that a murderer will not be able to find a gun or find some other way to kill people, they could just as well strap themselves with bombs like in Israel and in Iraq and blow up 10 times as many people. You cannot stop one form of a weapon or another from a murderer to carry it. And it's sick to believe that you can. And the great fear that if everybody had guns, somehow everybody would kill each other. In an army, 2 million or 10 million people all have guns. They're only 18, 19 years old. How come they don't kill each other? Do you think the soldiers are worried that another soldier will kill them? Or are they worried that the enemy will kill them? Are they afraid of each other? Do you hear that so many arguments break out? Everybody tells you at the slightest reference of the smallest argument, somebody will go nuts and start killing each other if everybody has a gun. You could have 10 million soldiers in an army. How come they don't kill each other? How come there's thousands of policemen in every city? How come they don't kill each other? How moronic could you be? In 2/3 of the homes of this country, people are allowed to have guns in their homes. How come everybody in their houses are not shooting each other? The whole idea, everybody has a knife in their kitchen. And everybody knows a knife could kill you just as easily as a gun. O.J. Simpson didn't have a gun, he had a knife. So why don't you go into every kitchen and as soon as somebody starts making a sandwich, take their gun away. I mean their knife away. Take the knife away from everybody who's making a sandwich. Take the fork away because he could poke your eyes out with a fork. There's any kind of a thing could be a weapon. Why don't you take the chairs away from everybody's house? When a person can't find a knife or a gun, they've made studies and they found out the most likely thing they would do is hit you over the head with a chair. And they're more likely to kill you with a chair than anything else. Should you take all the chairs away? Why don't you say everybody who has a chair could be a menace to society? How about tall people? If somebody is 10 times stronger than you, can't he choke you whenever he pleases? Are you afraid that anybody who's a tall person might suddenly go nuts and break your head? Why don't you take every tall person's hands away? If you take his hands away, he won't choke you, he won't hit you, and he won't be able to kill you. That's how stupid this whole thing is. Why don't you go into every building above 2 stories and cut out, destroy the rest of the building, because if you jump off a building more than 2 stories high, you'll probably die. So there should be, somebody's ringing a phone here. Let's keep on message here. The point is, regardless of a phone ringing, the point is that if you jump off a building, you will die. You will die. So should you cut all the roofs out of this country? Should you make sure that no building has a roof? That it should either go up so high that you can't reach it or so low that you can't jump off it? It's a moronic idea. The moronic idea is that there's a million ways you could destroy somebody's life and you don't need a gun. A gun is the least likely weapon for a person who wants to kill you because it's the most inconvenient weapon. How about driving a car? Isn't it just as easy or easier to kill a person driving a car? Let's be honest about it. If you have a gun, you shoot somebody, then you have to look for a getaway car. This guy is in the car already. Doesn't have to look for anything. He's in the car and he's speeding away. How will you find him? How would you know who even did it? The easiest thing to do, and the most convenient way, and the best way not to get caught. If any real murderer wants to kill you and wants to make sure he doesn't get caught, every FBI man, every cop, everybody who knows anything about law enforcement will tell you that the easiest way to escape a crime is to kill them in a car. Should we stop driving? Should we take cars away? Why don't we eliminate cars, forks, knives, hands, roofs, everything that could kill a person? Why don't we eliminate it? These are morons. Whoever tells it to you is an idiot. Guns protect people. Guns protect people. Get that straight. A law-abiding citizen should be able to have a gun just like he's able to have a car. And if everybody has a gun, nobody's going to kill you. Every study proves that the more people have guns, the more protected they are. They're not more menaced by guns, they're more protected by guns. And a murderer cannot be stopped from having a gun. Forget about it. And if he has a gun, and if you try to stop him from that, you might as well stop him from living. Kill the murderers. That's the only way, because you'll never get every form of equipment away from them. Let me tell you something about my book. I didn't want to change the subject because this is too serious an issue to be frivolous about anything else and to even be thinking about anything else. But it just so happens that my book in my hands right now is now on the bestseller list, and I have the issues of all the schmucks in the world. It's called Schmucks. The schmucks who want gun control, the schmucks who are doing all kinds of illicit, indecent, and terrible things to this country, characters who are preposterous and ridiculous and obnoxious. They're all mentioned here. Politicians, celebrities, and hypocrites of all kinds. Buy this book and you'll find out how stupid it is, the way people behave in this country, how moronic their message is, like gun control. There's a lot of moronic messages that people give you. It's all explained here in this book and identified in this book. Names, places, dates, and people. Get this book, you'll find out about it. Thank you.